Hi everyone, Andre here from iCode for Coffee, and today we're looking at installing WordPress on AWS EC2. Now, historically, we had to manually install all the components needed to run WordPress, which is no longer the case. There are now a multitude of companies and third-party providers that create WordPress installation bundles and then provide these through the AWS Marketplace. So today I'm going to show you how to subscribe and install one of these bundles. Just before we start, if you're not one for sitting through these detailed videos and listening to my chit chat in between, I also create a quick overview video for each of these tutorials. They're called Code Quickies, and you can look out for the CQ hashtag in all your social media platforms. Then, if this was helpful to you in any way, shape, or form, please consider buying me a coffee or subscribing to my channel. It really helps me out financially, spending time on this and making high quality future tutorials. All the important links on the description below. So, with that said, let's get into it. Okay, so let's head over to the AWS Marketplace and search for WordPress, which would then give you a list of all the WordPress related packages. Now, I do recommend using the top option, which is called WordPress Certified by Bitnami and Automatic. Just one side note is at the time of making this video, this package did not support a multiple instances of WordPress on a single AWS EC2 server. So if you do need to run multiple instances of WordPress, you'll have to look at one of the other bundles. But for the purposes of this tutorial, this package is more than sufficient. So go ahead and click on the top option. The next step is your product overview page. This gives you a lot of useful information. I usually only look at the pricing. This is obviously not your cheapest option. You do get hosting providers that gives you a fully functional up and running WordPress instance where you can log into your cPanel and do whatever you need to do. But they are usually limited. So if you need full control over your WordPress installation, this is quite a good and affordable option. I usually use this just to get a development environment up and running, do whatever I need to do, and then I can the EC2 instance. So then I just pay for what I used and it's done. So if you're happy with the pricing, go ahead and click on the continue to subscribe button. So on the subscribe page, I'm already logged into my AWS Management Console, but if you're not, it will prompt you to log in. And if this is the first time you're going through this process, it will give you a little terms and conditions box with a accept button. So I already went through this process once before, so I don't need to do that, but click on the accept button, and then once it's done creating your subscription, click on the continue to configuration button at the top. Now on the configuration screen, there's three options. The fulfillment option you can leave as default. The software version I usually leave as default unless you have a specific requirement for a specific version. And then your region, you select the region you want to run in. Now, I live in New Zealand, and unfortunately we don't have an AWS data center, so I'll just select Sydney. Once you're done with that, click on the continue to launch button, which would take you to the launch screen. On the launch screen, there's a few additional options. The launch action you can leave as is. The EC2 instance type will default to the recommended type set by the provider, which in this case is the T3A.small. On the right hand side, you can see what you'll get for that, but you can upscale or downscale as needed. The VPC settings you don't have to worry about, that's already created for you. And the same with your subnet settings. So you can obviously create a new VPC or a new subnet, but that's outside the scope of this tutorial. And then your security group. So your security group, is just to specify the ports that's open for this EC2 instance or allowed. And because I went through this process once before, I already have a security group. But if this is the first time you're doing this, click on the Create New based on Seller Settings button, which would take you through the process step by step. It's really easy to do. And the same with the key pair. If this is the first time you're doing this, just click on the Create a Key Pair in EC2 link, which would take you through the process step by step. Just one thing is make sure you save your key pair file so that you can later on SSH into your EC2 instance if you need to do so. So this should take a few minutes to do, but once you're done with that, click on the launch button, which would then successfully launch your EC2 instance. And it would give you this success message at the top. Then you can click on your EC2 console link, which should take you to your instances. Now, just give it a minute to refresh. But as you can see, it's initializing my instance. Okay, so once your instance got created, left click next to your instance ID, go to the Actions menu, Monitor and Troubleshoot, and open your system's log. But Nami automatically generates a username and password. So if you scroll up to somewhere in the middle of this log, you would see the generated username and password. So copy that password, click on the instance ID in the breadcrumb, go to your networking tab, open your public IP address, and go to the login screen by typing in admin at the end of your URL. Enter your username, paste your password, and log in. And voila, you've set up WordPress successfully on AWS EC2.